All right, everybody, what's going on? It's your boy C Wells, your tour guide around the SWAC coming at you. And today is our SWAC women's basketball preview. Finally rolling this out. Been a hectic end of the football season with coaches leaving, coaches getting fired, and the whole nine. And I wanted to go ahead and throw this out and get this put out for y'all, man, to represent for SWAC women's basketball, because there's been some pretty good ball being played in the SWAC right now. So definitely want to go ahead and give you an idea what to look for. I mean, there's some really solid basketball being played. So definitely wanna show some love to the SWAC women's basketball and let you know what's what right now. So with that being said, man, y'all go ahead and hit those socials: Facebook is SWAC Talk, Twitter SWAC Talk 76, Instagram SWAC Talk. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button. Don't forget to share and comment, and hit that join button if you like to become a member of the channel, because we do a lot of great things here. We got a lot of stuff coming at you. At the end of the football season, got a couple interviews trying to line up for you. Got coaches searched and all that kind of stuff going on. So gonna definitely be busy. I'm working on a little project about SWAC basketball. SWAC football, and why the season is going like it is. Why the season turned out the way it did offensively. I feel like offensively in the SWAC this season, the teams haven't been playing that great offensively. So I wanted to kind of go back and look and see what the difference is as far as each team statistically, and why why their numbers are down or they seem down. So we're gonna definitely do that at some point once the season is over. Want to definitely let the championship game be over so we can get them last official conference stats, because I'm gonna look at this basically with conference numbers, not necessarily with non-conference numbers, because that skews by team. Some teams play more FCS games, some teams play more FBS games, some teams play multiple D2 games. So all that being said, man, I'm gonna get that on out the way, and that's gonna be coming at you at some point after the season. So let's go ahead and jump into this basketball thing, man. Women's basketball definitely, I think, has been a competitive sport in the SWAC. These teams have been battling out. JSU has been the top team in the SWAC for the last few years, continuing to kind of make some things happen, and finding themselves as the top dog in the league. So you gotta always respect the team who has been the reigning champ. They won the conference regular season multiple times. They won the tournament multiple times. Last season, they got upset in the SWAC championship they got upset basically in the semifinals of the conference tournament when they lost to Southern on a buzzer beater 3, and went to the women's NIT and played against Memphis. But this is there are some solid teams, and we're going to go ahead and talk about all of these teams to play. I can only give you so much, on this, but there's a channel on YouTube called Live for Hoops. Definitely check her out. She covers SWAC basketball heavily. So definitely want to check that out on YouTube, or on Twitter. I'm gonna put the link in the description. So if you want to really get the full in-depth of SWAC basketball, definitely check her out. She can give you way more of this than I can, but I want to do what I do because I do like to cover basketball, and I'm gonna give you my opinion on some things. So let's start off with the predicted order of finish for the regular season of the 2023-2024 regular season. Jackson State is picked first with 267 points. 11 first place votes last season. They finished first place. Southern is picked second with 245 points, 5 first place votes. They finished tied for second in a three-way tie with Bama State and Prairie View, Alabama State, Prairie View, Alabama A&M, and Southern all finished tied at 12-6 last season. Um, Southern finished fourth by virtue of tiebreakers. That's why they ended up playing Jackson State in the first round. I mean, excuse me, in the semifinal round. So they definitely are still one of the top teams in the league. Pine Bluff is the number 3 team. They received 216 first place votes. 216 points. They have 4 first place votes. This team finished 10-8 last season. 13-17 overall. They have some really talented players. They have size. They have some pretty solid shooting now. And they're definitely led by a really great coach and Coach Thornton. So they are a team who probably should have finished higher than they did last season. They kind of hit a slump in the middle of the season, but they came on strong and made the SWAC championship last season. So definitely want to look out for the Golden Lions during the season. Fourth is Alabama A&M, 200 points. Again, they were in that big log jam for second place. They're playing really well right now this season, and we'll talk about that. They right now are one of the better teams in the non-conference. They've been playing fairly solid in the non-conference. For fifth place is Alabama State. Again, that was a team who finished in that log jam for second place. They also finished 12-6. They were 14-15. Excuse me, they were 12-6, and they were 16-15 overall last season. So again, they were in the mix. They last few weeks of the season, they kind of had opportunity to win to basically finish second, but they came up short in a couple games. That Louisiana trip did them in and kind of set them back a little bit. Number 6 is Prairie View, 174 points, 1 first place vote. Again, they were that last team in that 4-way tie for second. They finished last season 12-6 in conference and 15-15 overall. Coach Pugh definitely has her team playing pretty well right now. They're looking like they're going to be a team who can contend for the conference championship in the tournament. Number 7 is Bethune-Cookman with 144 points. The Wildcats last season, they finished 10-8 and made the tournament for the first time last season. Since they've been in the SWAC, they were 11-18 overall. They're playing really, really well right now. We're going to look at the standings in a few minutes, but they're playing really, really well right now in the non-conference. The next team we have at number 7 is, number 8 is Grambling, 128 points. They received 2 first place votes, and this season they have a win over a Pac-12 opponent this season. Grambling was the last team into the tournament last season. They made the 8th spot. They were 9-9 and 10-20, and they pulled off a couple upsets last season. So they were a team who could win games, just couldn't find the consistency to get it done. But this season they appear to be a team that's gonna play some tough basketball. Number 9 is Alcorn. They 119 points. They also finished 9th last season. They were 8-10, 12-17 overall. Number 10 is hit the wrong. Number 10 is FAMU with 79 points. New team, new coach. They seem to be making some strides right now. They finished 4-14 and 6-23 overall last season. Rounding out the group is Texas Southern, 66 points. They finished 11th place last season, and this was a team who had scoring. They could score the ball, but they couldn't. They didn't really play consistent basketball, and they finished 2-16 last season, 2-27 overall. Valley rounds out the standings with 44 points at number 12, and last season they were 12th. 0-18 and 2-27. So definitely kind of want to keep an eye on what these teams can do. The preseason player of the year is Telon Bowler from Jackson State. Defensive player of the year is Angel Jackson from Jackson State. Um, Bowler was a standout at Jackson State in her third year as she appeared in 31 games last season. She averaged 12.6 points and 4.9 rebounds a game. She notched 21 double-figure games last season, including 3 double-doubles. Shot 40% from the field and 83% from the line last season. This is from the SWAC website. Jackson was a key defensive presence for Jackson State basketball team that held opponents to the fewest points per game in the conference at 59.1 points per game. She led the league in blocks with 2.4 blocks per game. And coach of the year um, is Coach Tamika Reed. They didn't, I mean, it's not really listed, but I mean, right now, she is the top coach in the league. So going into the season, she's the top coach in the league. Preseason first team All SWAC, Bowler from Jackson State, Chanel Wilson from Bethune-Cookman, Destiny Brown from Alcorn, Genovia Johnson from Southern, Karai Beck from Pine Bluff, and second team, Angel Jackson from Jackson State, Daphne White, another inside player from Jackson State, Chloe Fleming from Southern, really strong guard, nice point guard, Maury Davenport from Pine Bluff, and Ariana Grizzle from FAMU. Let's take a look at what the standings look like right now. Obviously, this is early in the season, but Jackson State is 5-1 right now. They have a victory over Southeastern Louisiana and St. John's in those 5 wins. So they picked up 2 D1 wins. I like to look at D1 wins in non-conference play because that kind of shows where you're at in out of conference play. So right now Jackson State is 5-1 and they have 2 wins over D1 opponents. Prairie View is 3-2. They have a victory over McNeese. Bethune-Cookman is 3-2 as well, and they have 3 D1 wins. They've beaten Iona, Georgia State, and Bradley, so they have some really strong D1 victories, and they're looking really solid in non-conference play. And that to me that's a great um, that's a great thing to kind of be playing better in non-conference. When this was a team who was kind of in the mix during last season, didn't really get over the hump per se, but they got in the tournament and they were a dangerous team. They really put a pretty solid beating on Southern last season, which was a team who finished ahead of them, and they found themselves in the tournament, and they can make some noise this season. Grambling is 3-3. They have 2 non-conference victories in D1, including a victory over Arizona State out of the Pac-12. So they have a nice non-conference victory there, and they also beat Northwestern State. Other than that, at the Grambling, we have Alabama A&M. They're 2-3. They have a victory over. They have a non-conference victory over Tennessee Tech in that number. So they have a D1 victory there. Following behind the Bulldogs, Texas Southern is 1-4, and they've beaten Stephen F. Austin for their 1 victory. So their 1 win is a D1 win. FAMU is also 1-4. They defeated Jacksonville University, so they have a D1 win. Pine Bluff is 1-5. They haven't picked up a D1 win yet, but this is a team who's been in a lot of games. They played Clemson fairly close for a bit, and they played some of those games kind of close, just couldn't get over the hump. Golden Lions are definitely going to be a factor. Valley is 1-6, and they have a victory as well. They beat McNeese as well. So Valley early season got them a victory. This team has been playing pretty well in early season. Hopefully they can kind of put that together once conference play comes around, because they haven't really had the success in conference play. Alcorn is 0-4, Southern 0-5, and Bama State is 0-6. Southern has had some losses by 17 and 18 to some D1 teams. They lost to Miami, by 4 points in a game that they led for a good portion of the second half. Kind of got away from them, but they had opportunity to be really competitive in that game. So let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for this week and to close out the month of December. Valley, they dropped a game to Lipscomb today, 64-55. And Cornet Word is at Prairie View at 5:30 today. Tomorrow, Pine Bluff is at Arkansas State. That's a 5 p.m. tip. Jacksonville is at Bethune-Cookman. That's a 5 o'clock Eastern tip, 4 o'clock Central. Um, North Alabama is at Alabama A&M. That's 11 o'clock on Wednesday. Valley is at UAB, 6 p.m. tip-off. Texas Southern is at Rice. That's a 7 p.m. tip. Thursday, November 30th, Jacksonville State is at Alabama State. That's a 6 p.m. tip. Nichols is at Alcorn. That's a 6 p.m. tip. December 1st, Friday, FAMU is at Sam Houston. Time to be determined. Arkansas Baptist is at Pine Bluff. Grambling is at Oklahoma. Jackson State is at Kansas State. Sunday, December 3rd, Arkansas Baptist is at Alcorn. Bethune-Cookman is at FIU. FAMU is at Houston. And Northwestern State comes to Southern. Monday, December 4th, Valley is at New Mexico. Pine Bluff is at SMU. Wednesday, December 6th, Pine Bluff is at North Texas. Friday, December 8th, South Alabama is at FAMU. And Saturday, December 9th, Warner is at Bethune-Cookman. Alcorn is at North Texas. Louisiana Christian is at Southern. And Jackson State is at Oregon State. We'll wrap up this with December 10th, that's Sunday. Pine Bluff is at Arkansas. South Carolina State is at Alabama A&M. And Prairie View is at TCU. Let's take a look at how some of the stats are stacking up right now in the league. Right now, Jackson State's leading the league, averaging 79 points per game. Pine Bluff right behind them at 77. Prairie View at 75. Jackson State also leads the league in scoring defense at 48.7 points per game. Bulldogs, Alabama A&M are second at 64.2. Prairie View is at 65.6. Jackson State has a scoring margin of 30.5 on the positive side, and Prairie View is the only other team with a positive point differential at 9.8. So those teams are kind of getting it done right now. Prairie View leads the league in field goal percentage at 46%. Jackson State at 44. Pine Bluff at 42. Jackson State defensively allowing opponents to shoot 32% from the field. Texas Southern 39%. Prairie View 40%. 3-pointers, FAMU leading at 38%. Prairie View at 32%. Grambling at 30%. Jackson State plays great 3-point defense. The opponents are only shooting 15% from three. 27% for Texas Southern opponents, and Southern is opponents at 29% 3-point shooting. Free throws, Bethune-Cookman shoots 68.6% from the field. Texas Southern 68.5, Grambling 68.3. Opponents shoot 75% from the line against Texas Southern, 73% for FAMU, and Jackson State 72%. Rebounding. Jackson State leads the league with 46.7 rebounds per game. Grambling 43.5. Bethune-Cookman 39.8. Jackson State opponent rebounds 28.2 rebounds per game. Alabama A&M 33 per game. Prairie View 33.6. Offensive rebounds, Jackson State leads that with 19.7 rebounds per game. Grambling 18.8. Bethune-Cookman 15.4. Defensive rebounds, Jackson State also leads with 27 per game. Texas Southern 25.8. Alabama A&M 25.6. Rebound margin, Jackson State out rebounds their opponents by 18.5 rebounds per game. Alabama A&M 5.8. Grambling 4.2. And Prairie View at 3.2. Those are the only teams with positive rebound margins on the season so far. Jackson State also leads the league with 6.5 turnover margin. They average 16 turnovers. They force 23. Bethune-Cookman is at 4.6. They average 13.4 turnovers per game. They force 18. Pine Bluff is at 3.5. They average 12.3 turnovers per game, and they force 20. They force 15.8. Prairie View is at 3.4. They average 19.2 turnovers per game, and they force 22.6. Right now, Grambling forces the most turnovers per game at 23.8. Assist to turnover ratio, uh, Pine Bluff is at 1.2. They have 15 and a half assists per game and 12.3 turnovers per game. They lead the league. They are second in the league in turnovers in assists per game at 15. Prairie View leads at 16 per game. Block shots, Jackson State leads at 4.5. Texas Southern 4.2. Bama State at 3.8. Assists, like I said, Prairie View leads at 16. 15 and a half for Pine Bluff, Jackson State 13 and a half. Prairie View leads in steals at 12.4. Jackson State 11.8, and Grambling 11 and a half. Looking at some of the leaders individually, Zay Green coming back from an injury at last season. She's averaging 20.8 points per game for Pine Bluff. Chanel Wilson, she's averaging 16 points per game for Pine Bluff. Ryan Payne for Prairie View, 15 points per game. Shadiman McKnight for Valley, 14.4 points per game, and Ariana Grizzle is averaging 14 points per game for Prairie View. The leading rebounder right now is Brenda McKinney. She's averaging 7.8 rebounds per game for Grambling, and Asane Nicholson also averages 7.8 rebounds per game for Alabama A&M. Geraldine Smith, and it's at 7.6, and Zay Green is at 7.3. The leading field goal shooter right now is Zay Green. She's shooting 50% from the field. Payne at 46, Grizzle 43. The leading assist Zay Green also leads in assists. She's having a really great season right now. She's averaging 5.8 assists per game. Like I said, seven rebounds per game, 20 points per game. She's having a great season. She's going to definitely be a factor in this season. It could be a huge candidate for Player of the Year once the season wraps up if she can continue this pace in the conference play. She leads the league in assist to turnover ratio at 4.4. She's only turning the ball over 1.3 times per game. Definitely, like I said, she's having a great season right now. Angel Jackson leads the league in block shots at 1.8. Jayla Cody from Alabama A&M is also at 1.8, and Cordesia Harris from Alabama State is at 1.8. So that's kind of a quick run through of what's going on with SWAC women's basketball. Like I said, conference play would definitely be the thing to kind of keep a lookout for. You definitely, you want to always play some solid non-conference games. You want to come up with those wins, but ultimately it comes down to the SWAC tournament and the preseason. The SWAC conference play, because that's where when you're a one bid league, you gotta get it out the league tournament. So it's definitely gonna be a race to the finish. Looking at the TV schedule for HBCU Go, all these games are men's and women's games. January 6th, Alcorn is at Jackson. That starts at 12. January 20th, Southern is at Grambling. That starts at 12. January 27th, Alabama A&M is at Texas Southern. That starts at 12. February 3rd, Bethune-Cookman at Alabama State. That starts at 12. February 10th, 12 o'clock tip, Alcorn at Pine Bluff. February 17th, Valley at Alabama A&M. And March 2nd, Bethune-Cookman at Southern. And March 9th rounds out the HBCU Go coverage with Valley at Jackson State. That's a 12 o'clock tip. So it's always good to have multiple games on. And I love the fact that HBCU Go does the women and men. They do the doubleheader. That gives people a chance to check out both games. And it gives the SWAC 2 games a day coverage. So I like to see that, and they have some pretty solid games. Definitely going to be an interesting thing once conference play ramps up. Conference play does begin on January 6th, I believe. I think that's the first day of conference play. Let's see. Yeah, Saturday, January 6th is the first day of conference play. And it's a full 6-game slate. So you definitely want to catch that. So with that being said, man, I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawells. I'm signing up out of here. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, and we'll holler at y'all. Peace.